Okay. Okay.
Hariom Archana ji.
Hariom, thank you, Swati ji.
Of course, of course. Let me know when we're ready to start. And if the recording's happening, it might be best for it to be on speaker mode so we're not recording other people without their permission.
Which one? One.
Yeah.
Pin?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I don't have my regular book. I've just pulled it up on my phone. So I'll keep that here. All right, we'll get started with 3 ohms and Sahana Vavatu. So if there are distractions in the room, we could close the doors, keep our phones on silent. All right. Take a deep breath in. Oh. 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 Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, I have discovered there is a slight lag, so I will be slower if I ask a question for a response. Okay, but I can hear you, which is lovely. Sometimes we can't hear each other. Anybody remember which verse we're on? That should be a simpler question. Process of elimination. There are 5 verses. We're not in the first 2, for sure. Did somebody say 4? Yes. We just finished 4. Good job. So we finished the 4th verse. And I recall at the beginning of taking this class, we gave an outline of what Sadhana Panchakam looks like, and we talked about the 4 stages, right? We talked about Brahmacharya Ashrama, which is when you are a student, Grihastha when you're a householder, Vanaprastha where you have fulfilled your duties to the world and you are retired, and finally Sannyasashrama, where you have given up, renunciation, right? So as this text goes, even the instructions are for more and more ripe or mature sadhakas. So does that mean we skip the rest of the book because we're not in sannyas ashram? No, as we've been doing, whatever instructions are given to us, we figure out a way to understand it and apply it to our lives now. Because I am 99.99% sure all of us will not be sannyasis by the end of our life, right? So if we can look at the way that realized people or those seeking realization live their life, we will get tips. And we may not follow it 100%, but at least we'll be on the path. And we believe in rebirth. So perhaps as we are born over and over and over again, we can use whatever we've learned in each janma to advance further in the next janma. And that's why even in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, no effort is wasted. You might not see the result of it in this life, but in some life, any effort that even kinchit, even a little bit of effort you put into your sadhana, it will come to fruition and it will support you and benefit you. So with that, we will start looking at verse 5. And verse 5 talks about those who have kind of already been in sannyasa ashrama for a while and they've been meditating. But again, we will look at it as how to apply it to ourselves. So we'll do lead and repeat. Oh man, I've been singing other bhajans, so I have to get back to the tune. Okay. Okay, so this is verse 5. एकान्ते सुखमास्यतां परतरे
एकान्ते सुखमास्यं परतरे
चेतः समाधीयताम्
चेतः समाधीयताम्
पूर्णात्मा सुसमीक्ष्यतां जगदिदम्
पूर्णात्मा सुसमर्थ्यतां जगदिदम्
तद्बाधितं दृश्यताम्
तद्बाधितं दृश्यताम्
प्राक्कर्म प्रविलाप्यतां चितिबलात्
प्राक्कर्मप्रविलाप्यतां चितिबलाम्
नाप्युत्तरे श्लिष्यताम् प्रारब्धं त्विह भुज्यता मतः परः ब्रह्मात्मनास्ति यताम्
ब्रह्मात्मनास्ति यताम्
Okay, that wasn't bad. Okay, very good. So, what are we looking at with verse 5? It starts off, Ekante sukhamasyatam. Ekante. Eka, one. Ekante, in some corner, right? So, in solitude. In solitude, sukhamasyatam. In joyfulness, so also peace, sukhamasyatam. Be at peace in solitude. Seek joy in solitude. Then the second part of this, that's instruction 1. Next one is paratare cheta samadhiyatam. Samadhi, having full concentration on what? On paratare. And putting the cheta, the mind, cheta, manas, mind, on that paratare. Paratare means that which is beyond the beyond. The beyondest beyond. Paratare. So this is a two-part instruction. First is be joyful or seek joy in solitude, enjoy solitude. And as you are in that solitude, together with that, make sure that the mind is placed on paratare, the highest. Solitude is tricky. And when we studied about this, even Gurudev, there was one person, Swamini Amma, she had done the Vedanta course for 2 years and she was serving as a brahmacharini and all of that. And she came to Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji and said, Swamiji, I need to go meditate. Like, I need to go be by myself. I don't want all these people around me. I just want to go and study and meditate. I've done this path. Like, I'm there. I'm ready. And he was like, wait, 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 wait. You shouldn't be itching to run away. Then that solitude that you're craving is not going to lead you to realization or being able to focus. That solitude is going to drive you insane. It is dangerous. Solitude can be very dangerous. And I'm sure some of you know in the prison system, one of the worst punishments within the prison system is solitary confinement. Those who are causing problems with those around them, they can't be in the general prison atmosphere. They're told to go into solitary confinement. And here, our Shastras are telling us seek joy in solitude. These prisoners are being given a great opportunity to reflect. That's not the case. Studies have been done on the mental effects of solitary confinement for prisoners, and it's detrimental. It makes them become worse. It is not an opportunity to reflect on mistakes they've made and, oh, I'll be better once I come out. That leaves lasting damages, right? So solitude is a heavy topic, and it's important to understand the purpose and the time to seek that solitude. And it's also said, Gurudev has also said, that solitude will find you also when the time is right. If you look at retreats usually are not in bustling cities. If you've gone to any kind of retreat, they try to find a place in nature, um, in in an environment that doesn't have as much distractions. And I don't know, some people have told me, I haven't been, but told me about the Vipassana retreat. It's like 10 days, I believe, and it's a silent retreat. You give up your phone and everything. You don't talk to the people around you. You sit in silence in a hall if you would like. That's the only interaction. And then you go back to your room. I think some people journal, but some people aren't even allowed to journal, right? Like you don't have a place to put down your thoughts. And you go in thinking, oh, finally, I can do nothing. And it's okay because that's what we think. Like, I want to go on vacation. Why? So I can do nothing. But slowly, if you give yourself the chance to do nothing, you'll realize how long you'll last. It is not easy to do nothing because the one object that we forget to account for in, oh, that person's bothering me, this situation's bothering me, this whatever it is, it's bothering me, I need to get away from that. The one thing we can't get away from, that's a part of all of this, is the mind. Yes, the mind is a constant companion, and that is why solitude needs to be sought, especially if you're thinking, I'm going to go into a forest and meditate kind of situation. It must be sought when the mind has been tamed to the highest possible degree. Because even when you believe the mind is tamed, when you are put in a situation of solitude, you have, like we've talked about vasanas, we have no idea how vasanas come out and into our minds, right? It's like avirbhava tirobhava. It jumps up and it comes down. It's like waves, right? And some waves are big, some are small, but can you ever sit there and be like, okay, Bhagwan, I want a really big wave right now? You don't control that, right? Yes, we have low tide, high tide, but that's a general idea of how the water is moving. But every wave is different and you can't predict them. And Surfers, I've never surfed, but surfers talk about this, right? They're looking for those high tides. You never know which one's so dangerous that it's gonna wrap you, and which one is like, oh, that didn't even help me, surf. That's how the mind is. The mind may feel that you have disciplined it and conquered it because for decades you've been following a routine. And, we get confident. Our ego lets us get confident. And then you sit in that meditation, right? Oh, I quit my job, I gave up my apartment, my house, everything. And I came to this Vedanta course because I'm ready for Vedanta. Like, I'm ready to just know the truth and be done with this world. And 5:30 a.m. meditation class is there. First thing is, can you get out of bed every day for 2 years? I mean, I did not succeed at that, right? Is your mind disciplined enough to get out of bed every day at 5:30, whether you are sick, whether you are weak, whether you feel like you can physically climb up a hill or down a hill, we had to climb up a hill, whether it's monsoon season, whether you're cold, whether you have allergies, whether it's so hot that you have to change your white sari 10 times a day and wash it. So many excuses come up for us, right? And that's just getting through the door to sit for meditation. And then we sit. And everything. I wonder how they're doing back home. I wonder if my parents miss me. I wonder if my siblings finally gonna marry, their girlfriend and I'm gonna miss the wedding. I wonder that, I wonder this. Well, you know what breakfast I really miss? What day is today? What breakfast do they have here at the ashram? Do I even want to go to the breakfast? So many thoughts while you're sitting for meditation. Yet, I have traveled halfway across the world to study Vedanta, and I feel that my mind is ripe and ready. So, this ekante, solitude, needs to be practiced. And I know some people in class talked about how they do Om Upasana or meditation for hours every day. And that's what helps, right? It helps us train the mind to be still. And our rishis who have practiced this know that it's difficult to focus on nothing, which is why you have the second half of this line. Focus the mind on paratare, that which is beyond the beyond. So there's a concept that should be introduced at this point. And it's really important to understand what Sanatana Dharma or even Hinduism is, which is Saguna and Nirguna. Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma. We've talked about Brahman. Brahman is that foundation, that happiness, bliss, consciousness. But when we say that, it's like, huh? Like, I need something to grasp. The mind needs something to hold on to. Therefore, we have saguna, sa with, nir without, guna attributes. Attributes can mean something that you see, anything that is the object of your the object of your ego, right? This jiva. So anything that I perceive around me is a guna. It could be shape, color, smell, taste, sound, all of these things. That is why we talk about how many gods are there in Hinduism. Is it polytheistic and or is it monotheistic? And that was the biggest debate in even in Shinma mission camps, right? With the younger kids. It's a huge debate topic. Well, if you say it's monotheistic, then why does my mom have 50 pictures in my puja room? Right? If you say it's polytheistic, which one's the right God? We in America, we meaning people of my generation and maybe older, but and younger, we're brought up with a very concrete binary approach. And that is very detrimental to our understanding of realities in the material world and beyond. Because what we believe in is monism, is a word that's been termed for it, right? And I didn't hear that word till much later in my life. But the idea is we believe in the one foundation that is that consciousness. But for this mind to grasp what we're trying to talk about, we need an indicator. Right? You can say there's a car in the parking lot. Somebody needs to move it. What kind of car? What color? Where is it parked? Anything, right? You need some indicators. You can't just say, oh, everybody go outside and check if it's your car. No, you need some indicators. In the same way, when we talk about Bhagavan or God in the highest nirguna sense, this mind needs something saguna, something with attributes to hold on to. So, and our shastras are perfect. And I say that because it's so methodical. You start off doing puja. What's the point of doing puja? Why do you need all of this naivedyam and samagri and tools and sounds and chants? You engage all of your senses. Look at Bhagavan. See his lotus, feet. See his tilak or his vibhuti. You see the puja samagri, right? The agarabati, you see the smoke, right? You engage your eyes. The smell, right? You're not supposed to do puja in a filthy place. It needs to smell good. You have the agarabati, you have karpuram, you have mango leaves, you have tulsi. There's a particular and distinct smell when you do a puja, and it should be good. Sugandha, good smell. And then the sound. I have met so many people that are not Hindus that do a lot of the sound therapy these days. And what is it? It's ringing a gong, right? Or a bowl, like it's a musical bowl. And it helps people meditate. It's the sound. And what do we have? We also have bells. And there's so much depth to this also. You can go on, you can do a whole class on this because with the sound, vibrations come into the picture. And every cell of every being, not just this body, but every being, every object, when you study physics, like a wall, something solid is nothing but cells vibrating at a certain, frequency. And that's why it's a solid. You vibrate at a different frequency, it becomes a liquid. A different frequency, it's a gas. So these bells and temples, how they're built to cause an echo, not the strip mall temples that we see here, but actual temples that are built according to Sthapatya Vidya, architecture Vidya given in our Shastras. It's there. When they do an archana, an arati, or a puja, and they ring the bell, the echo goes out and comes in. And if we are used to being in tune with sound, every cell in this body can resonate with those bells. It's incredible, actually. Imagine the cells in your body all resonating to the same frequency. It's a peak of meditation, right? And people talk about all of these siddhis, right? People can make objects float and they can put their hand through something and come back. And the fire, I've actually seen somebody, a yogi, sit in fire and nothing happens to them. And, I was literally right in front of the Homakundam. It wasn't on a video or anything. And they came out and they were fine. And I mean, he gave us prasadam afterwards. And, if you want to think it's a gimmick, fine. Go explore for yourself, please. That's what Gurudev always says. If you don't believe it, do it. Practice it. Find out for yourself. And unfortunately, you'll find more hoaxes than realities, but you just need to meet one person that has that siddhi to believe it, right? So, frequency, it changes your structure, your ability, the whole matrix, right? It's an amazing movie and it draws a lot on Vedanta. We use it for movie workshops for kids all the time. The ringing of the bell during the puja aligns the frequency through sound, right? And then taste. You taste the wonderful prasadam afterwards. And even the tirtham. The tirtham has so many specific spices that they put in there, right? They have something called tirtha podi now, which is a tirtham powder you can mix into your tirtham at home. So you have the taste. It shouldn't be drank like tea, okay? Like it's only for puja purposes. You have the tirtha powder. And so you have eyes, nose, ears, and touch. You, and with speech as well, right? You're chanting. You're saying samarpayami, avahayami, and your hands are doing things when you do those. When you do naivedyam, Bhagwan eat it, and every finger is connected to a different prana. So you're feeding Bhagwan. I mean, as kids, you used to ask, oh, Bhagwan actually eats the food. You're feeding Bhagwan through prana, this pranic shakti. You feed Bhagwan. So your hands are constantly engaged. When you offer the flowers, you don't offer flowers like this. You offer flowers from the heart to the murti. And it's not an idol, it's a murti that you've invocated Bhagwan's presence into. Right? So this is all saguna, full of attributes for this mind and body and intellect to get engaged in. Eventually, when you do puja, you can sit there and not be as involved, right? Usually the pujari is the most involved. The yajamanas are next, right? Yajamanas, those who are the main performers of the pujas. They usually just do what the priest says. They don't worry about the, puja samagri or anything. They just, okay, do this, do this, do this. They're just physically engaged, right? They don't chant as much either. And there's a way to be focused on Bhagwan even without a puja. Right? Some people just do parayana. You just chant Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, or even just, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. The sound and the mouth are engaged, right? But there's no smell. You don't have to have incense for that, right? And you can have your eyes closed. You don't have to be looking at a murti for that. And eventually, you stop saying it. And it's just on your lips. It doesn't have to come out. The vag, there are like 4 steps of japa that you do with your mouth. First is really loud, and then softer, and then like basically a whisper. And then finally, you don't have to say it at all. Right? And that's a way of withdrawing. And finally, you don't even have the words Om Namah Shivaya running in your mind. Because that which you are focusing on is beyond what you see and beyond the grasp of speech, beyond space, beyond time, all of these. Paratare. That's what we're focusing on, that one word. And Savikalpa Samadhi is a state of meditation where you still have some interruptions, but you are in tune with the higher. Like you're there, you don't need words, you don't need a figure, you don't need anything. But you come out of it and come into it, right? It's not so focused. Nirvikalpa samadhi, vikalpa, obstacles, nothing can move that person. That's like Ramana Maharishi Ji. You remember I gave the example of him a while back. Scorpions and snakes were biting him. No idea. It's not like he was, oh, they're not going to let that bother me. That's very aggressive. He didn't have to try. That's the basic principle of nirvikalpa samadhi, right? There is no trying not to be affected by the outside world. You are genuinely shut off from it. And you're still alive. You're not dead. You are conscious. You're still breathing, but you have zero association with this body, mind, intellect. So there's many steps. I took time to elaborate because, again, the beauty of our scriptures is it's customized. Every person can choose what they wish to do that helps their mind focus. If it is more stressful for me to go find flowers from Publix in the morning and make sure that I have Panchamrita for Abhishekam and make sure that I have 3 hours to chant Rudram and Chamakam and Namakam and all of these things, that's not helping your mind calm down. And that's causing chaos to people around you as well if you're a grahasta in today's world. Not when grahastas all were doing puja in the morning. So, what can I apply to myself? Because at this point, I'm assuming everyone in the room and us on Zoom, we all need some saguna, sakara worship. I need to believe my Krishna is with me to survive. I want my Krishna Murti in front of me so I can focus and get out of my own head, right? But it is too stressful to do a full abhisheka every morning for me. I have a child, I have this, that, many excuses, right? So it's not conducive for me to sit for a 3 hour puja every morning. But it is conducive to do japa because I can do japa even when I'm bathing a child, cooking, whatever. It's easier for me to do japa. I still have saguna. I'm still saying Bhagwan's name. I have to hear it. People say when you're going through a spiral or you're in a tough situation, snap out of it. Come back, come back. What are they trying to do? Bring you back to the world because you're lost in your thoughts or your mind. For me, verbalizing helps me come back to the world. Even likita japa, writing. When I write Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo, my brain has to focus on this hand writing on this paper. I'm back to this place because I need to get out of my head. How comfortable am I in my mind with my mind? Some people can have chaos happening in their mind level, but it not affect them because they know that the tantrum that the mind is throwing is temporary and I don't need to act on it. It's not easy, but it's possible. It's not suppression. That's different. When you suppress the mind, it's going to blow up at some point. But if I'm consciously watching, oh, there you go, Swati, you're getting jealous again. We've been down this road before and it was not fun, but I can see it. I know, I can feel it in my stomach that the mind, Swati, is getting jealous. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to let you play your mental gymnastics because you're not ready to listen to the intellect. Otherwise, you would have stopped an hour ago. Because the first step is telling your mind this is not worth getting jealous over, and you stop. That's the intellect that's in control, right? And jealousy is a wasted emotion, and this and that, whatever. You tell your mind what you need to tell your mind. But it's not, mind's not listening, then you just watch the mind. It's like watching kids run around in a playground, right? Or even teenagers do silly things all the time. It's like, you're gonna fall, baby. Baby, you're gonna fall. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna scrape your knee and then you're gonna come running back to Amma. You're gonna fall. But you don't keep saying that to the child. You don't teach them fear. You tell them be careful once or twice, and then they fall, and then you're there and you put a little band-aid, whatever. Same thing with the mind. Okay, you're becoming so miserable this week because of that one instant, but I'm not going to let that affect the rest of my day. I'm still going to go out, meet my friends, and eventually if you forget about it and you're like, okay, that's all it took. It took a going out with your friends, or it took a meditation session or a satsang. You're done. Okay, I'm proud of you. You didn't last 2 weeks in misery this time. It only took you a week to come out of it. Right? So that example was for us to figure out what we need to do for ourselves. And we don't need to go with all the rides of the mind. Sometimes we do. It's also possible to be away from that mind and look down, like not down as in disrespect, but look down or as an other, right? As an object of our thoughts, and still be at peace. And then of course, like when you don't have any negative thoughts flowing through the mind, that's wonderful. It rarely happens, but that's when you start to get glimpses of samadhi. And a big difference between Yoga Darshana and Vedanta, for those of you interested in details. So there's people that only study yoga, like they study the Yoga Sutras, and for them, samadhi is the end. If you can do samadhi, you're enlightened. In Vedanta, samadhi is a temptation, because the reality is, in Advaita Vedanta, I should be specific, even while I am living in this world, Jivan Mukti, while I am speaking with you right now, the knowledge that I am free should be there. The ego is doing its thing, and Brahman is watching Swati live her life, live out her prarabdha. Just is. So the goal of Advaita Vedanta is Jivan Mukti. But I guarantee you, samadhi is a wonderful temptation. Because when you are in the depths of meditation, there is this joy when the mind is still. And some of our scriptures, our texts, they talk about how do you know this state exists? When you have wonderful sleep and you wake up refreshed, whether it's a 15-minute power nap or you've slept for 4 or 5, 6, 8 hours. That joy that you wake up with is a remnant of the joy that you had when your brain was in samadhi. That is proof, a tiny proof that it exists and it's possible. You don't have to go to sleep for that, is the exercise. And sleep is also a wonderful temptation when you're meditating, right? They said I'm supposed to be comfortable when I'm meditating, and I'm not really comfortable sitting straight. I just am going to lean back. I mean, I got this easy chair for a reason. So I'll lean back, I'll be comfortable, then I will be a better meditator. And you're gone. You fall asleep. So the samadhi is very tempting because there is a lot of joy in that. But what Advaita Vedanta says is even that is temporary. because you're still craving that. And your true nature is something that you should not be craving. It is who you are. Therefore, samadhi is not the end game. Jivan mukti is the end game. Right? Again, where are we in all of this? We figure it out. And the other beautiful thing about our scriptures and Advaita Vedanta is we have a very linear approach to life. And we say, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, new level opened. Like all these games that you play, right? Like you go through the steps, level 1, level 2, level 3. All it takes for realization is a firm knowledge that I am Brahman. And that's it. Game over. It's like a hack, right? Like a cheat code. I don't know how many of you have played games, but it's a cheat code. Once you've hacked the system, you know it's the matrix, right? Like you know it, you see it, you're done. You can never unsee it once you've seen it. You don't say, no, I'm going to go back to being ignorant. Like learning, example that we can connect with. When you learn a new language, right? Before you knew the language, if someone was saying anything bad or good about you, it's like, meh, whatever. Once you learn the language and they're saying, let's say, bad things about you, because that's what affects us, you can't be like, oh, I don't hear it. They don't mean it. Like, I'm going to remain ignorant. No, I hear what you're saying and I understand it. So once the truth is realized, there's no going back. You just have to go forward. You're done. There's no going. You're done. So we don't have to be burdened by, oh, so I have to do puja and then I have to do dhyanam and then I have to do savikalpa, then we have to do nirvikalpa, then jivan mukti. This is too much. You don't have to. It's a matter of having the knowledge I am Brahman. I got invited to a Bhiksha once, and the lady was a Balavihar teacher, and her husband was, I think, a substitute teacher or something. And the first thing he says as we start to eat is, with Vedanta, I figured it out. I got it. And I'm like, please enlighten me. And he's like, I'm Brahman. I'm done. And I'm like, you have gone beyond everything, right? Like in terms of it, like he was kidding, but at the same time, that is how simple it is. So then if it's that simple, why are we struggling? Right? That's the next question. If you say it's that simple, why are we struggling? My ego. And we go back to step 1. Vedo nityamadhyata. I don't study the scriptures enough to remind myself that I'm not this ego. And shantyadi. I'm not practicing all of the positive sattvic traits enough for me to not be attached, sangha, attached to not be attached to the wrong things and attach myself to the good things and then know that I don't even need that, right? At some point, you don't even need that. You use a Brahmana pujari to do a puja every day. Eventually, you learn how to do it. This is not restricted to a particular class or anything. You can learn how to do puja on your own. We were all taught how to do puja at a Chinmay mission class. It's a 5-step puja. You can do it. You want a big one, a grand one, you can do that also. But you can do a 5-step puja. So eventually you can do everything on your own. We can practice what we need to practice to get ahead. But I am getting in my own way. And if we think deeply about any obstacle we have in life, the number one barrier usually is my own mind. After that, there's many other barriers. And those can make it harder, right? Because people say sometimes, oh, if I need to be in solitude, right, for meditation, then what's the point? Aren't I supposed to be happy wherever I am? Step by step, right? Yes, the goal is that. Why can't I do puja wherever I want? Why can't I go sit and do a puja in the messiest room? Because you have to start somewhere. That discipline needs to be built, right? We have to build the discipline of the mind, and then you can move forward. And that's what Grahastha is all about. Grahastha is not supposed to be happily ever after, or the movies ruined us, right? Movies end when life begins. Most of like the TV shows also, the final episode is always a wedding, right? Like in these crazy soap operas. Finally, the wedding happens. Finally, the lovers are united. What happens after that? And then there were kids, and then there was this and that, and college, and whatever, and mortgages. Grahastha is for that. Husbands and wives, partners, whatever, are for us to practice our sadhana. And we don't have a choice, right? Because again, Bhagavan is orchestrating so much, and our karmas are orchestrating so much. We may think, okay, like, I just, I'm never going to get married, this and that, all of these things. But vasanas come up, and eventually you're like, you meet somebody else, might be a good idea. You may regret it later on, but at that point, that's what your mind wants. And you will do anything to make that happen because that's the path you're going to be put on. Anybody at that point tells you, please don't get married. I'm sure that you have so many friends that have told you, maybe when you were engaged, all these married friends telling you, oh, it's not worth it, don't do it. And you're like, how dare you? My partner is different. Or kids that didn't have kids, or friends who didn't have kids, right? They're like, oh man, that's it, your life is gone. Don't do it. You're like, but this is my baby. This is my partner. This is my baby. And my baby and my partner are different from your miserable life. It's all, attachments, aspirations, dreams, desires. You're free of desire, then you can be free from all of this. But as long as there's kama, there is that desire. Act you must, karma must follow. And as long as there is karma, you might as well be dharmic about it. You might as well live a good life, a sattvic life, a useful life, and a life of sadhana. Because eventually, moksha will be your goal. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. We also talked about in the beginning the four kind of goals that make us go in life. You want something, you want to make it happen, try to do it in a dharmic way. Eventually, you'll get out of this cycle, moksha. So, ekante, coming back. Ekante, solitude. We practice it every day if we can. It is dangerous to try to do it when we're not ready. The mind needs to cooperate to a small degree because the challenges that come in meditation are much more difficult. So, can I be disciplined in everyday life? Yes. Can I do it for a week? Yes. Can I do it for a month? Can I do it for a year? Can I do it for a couple of years? Can I do it when I'm sick? Can I do it when I'm sad? Can I do it when I'm happy? Can I do it after a promotion? And can I do it after a recession? All the seasons of life. Can I keep training my mind? And if I can't, can I keep trying? You just have to keep trying. And then ekante, when I am sitting in that solitude, it won't be scary. It won't be a torture. And the mind may still throw some, curveballs, but at least I've trained the intellect to watch that mind. Right? So I'm sitting in that solitude. Nobody's home. Kids are gone to college, whatever. I'm going to sit for meditation and I will have hundreds of thoughts that try to make me get up. But I can watch those thoughts. But what if there's an emergency? What if this? What if that? 5 minutes at first, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, and then, half hour. Am I starting to fall asleep at the half hour mark? Go back 20 minutes. Life is about pivoting. I don't know if you've seen the Friends episode, but it is. Life is about pivoting at every moment. Because if we are so rigid and so inflexible, then we become our biggest enemies to growth. We can't grow if we're punishing ourselves and rigid. But if we give ourselves wiggle room, compassion, we can grow. So we have 10 minutes left. I'm going to go over the rest of the verse just so we have an idea. And I know last time people didn't like it if I didn't finish the meaning of the whole verse. So I'll just tell you word for word and we'll continue it next time. So ekante, we did that line. Purnatma susamikshyatam. See this Purnatma, full, this full self, Purnamada, Purnamidam, we chant this Purna, Purnatva, complete. Correctly see, Susamikshyatam, very well, clearly, without doubt. Know this Purnatma as yourself. And how about the rest of the world? Jagadidam, this Jagat, tad bhadita drishyata. Know that this world is badhita, meaning it is as though existing. The reality is not really there. See this world as Maya. Maya kalpita deshakala. See this world as Maya, illusory, as though existing, like a dream. Like a magic trick, it's even said in our Shastras. Jala, Indrajala is a name for a magician or magic. Indrajala. Then we'll talk more about this later. I know this is Maya, what? Why? Okay. Prak karma pravilapyatam. Okay, then what happens to karma? This is again a conclusion. This is a concluding verse. So, prak karma, your past karma, pravilapyatam, is diluted, dissolution, the dissolution of your last past karma. It's gone. It's done. Pravilapyatam. Chitibalat, chitibalan pyuttutaraishlishyata. Future karma is also gone. Chitibalat. Why? Because you have the knowledge that you are Brahman. Where is karma for Brahman? So Punarjanma doesn't exist, basically. You're not born again. Then Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam. The only karma that you are watching this ego stumble through is prarabdha karma. That is the one karma. Technically, you're not experiencing it if you realize, right? Because it's happening to Swati. It's not happening to Brahman. But it is something that is still existing. Now, this I need to state, this is important because when you are realized, you don't drop dead. That's what should be known. You don't drop dead from realization. How do we know that? Because we've talked to realized people. Realized people have written books, right? Realized people have sung revelations in the form of Upanishads. So realized people don't drop dead. They still breathe and act in the world. That is the prarabdha karma. They're just acting on the prarabdha karma. Then, Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam atmana parabrahma atmana sthiyatam. Fix this atma on parabrahma. Again, it's a repetition. That's the end. The happily ever after is this. Because ever after doesn't exist. You're beyond time. There's a huge section in a commentary that with samadhi and realization both, time and space cease to exist. All of our problems happen in time and space. Without that, where are your problems? That's the highest level of thinking. Our Acharya would always tell us. The first day of Vedanta course, he said, you're Brahman, you have no problems. Go home. That's it. You don't have to be here for 2 years. But the rest of our life is about understanding how is that true? How? That's impossible. Why is it impossible? And it feels impossible for me for a different reason than it feels impossible for you, right? Everybody's inability to let go of their ego is unique to them. For Bharata Rishi, it was a deer. You and me, we're like, I have no attachments to deers. A deer can come in my backyard, go in my backyard, and I don't care. Deer is not your problem. Your problem is your sweet deers at home. My problem is my sweet, parents, whatever. My expectations. I don't care what my boss expects. He's not the boss of me. But my mom, oh, she should be proud of me. My dad, if he insults my career, and for some people, I don't care what my parents say. They're not the boss of me. But if the CEO of my company doesn't recognize the effort I put into this project, that hurts me. The CEO of my company has power over my happiness. Yeah. So that's the full meaning of this verse. Next time, we will talk about this next verse about the Purnatma and the Badhyata. What is this negated? Badhya means negated world, material world. And this is dense because, like I said, the end of this text is mukti, right? This is for sannyasis. This is the highest knowledge. So it may seem difficult to apply to us every day, but it's always worth keeping this knowledge in the back pocket because you learn Vedanta your whole life. I studied this when I was 20 and I'm 36. I studied it again 10 times. I taught it 2 times, whatever. The more you hear it, the better. Why? Because I always think I'm the mind, body, and intellect. To me, Swati is this and this. Swati is not Brahman. Once a week isn't enough. When we did not have class for spring break, I was going insane. I was like, I need time to just reflect. Oh, but you can do it at home by yourself. You don't, I mean, I didn't, right? Like I can read the scripture, but to be able to think and talk about it, to be, responsible and obligated to say something of substance pushes you. It's important. And once a week isn't enough. Daily isn't enough. Every minute of every day is ideal. But here we are, once a week or once a month. Right. All right, we'll stop here. I think it's 12 o'clock almost for y'all. Yes? 2 minutes till? Yeah. No? Yeah. Can someone?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, 2 minutes till 12. Got it. So we will stop here with Purnamadaha. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Hari Om, everyone. See you next week. Archiraji, anything I need to be aware of? I'll be earlier next time. Devji and everyone, I'll be earlier.
No, this was really nice, and I plan to be there, and we'll see you on Zoom next time, and then after that in person, right?
Yes, I'll be back. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
I will. Stop recording first.